This is an old digital point and shoot camera with 4 megapixel resolution. But as you might have seen earlier on my channel, it is often possible to make very good images with these old cameras. So let's see if it's possible with the Minolta F100 camera in this video. Welcome back to my channel today for a look at the Minolta Dimage F100. In the last video in this series I reviewed the Powershot Canon Powershot A80, a camera that like this one only has 4 megapixels. I'll put a link to the previous episode up here. The Minolta uses the same sensor as the Powershot A80, a small 1/1.8 inch sensor. That sensor was actually used in a lot of point and shoot cameras from that era. But the image quality also depends on how you handle the output from the sensor. We'll look more closely to that later. The first thing about the Minolta that comes to my mind after using it for some weeks is that it has a lot more controls than the two Canon Powershot cameras. Those cameras that I reviewed in the two previous episodes. That adds complexity to the user interface, but Minolta has done a good job of making it user-friendly anyway. One negative thing I want to get out of the way immediately is that in some ways it's a slow camera. It boots up slowly, maybe due to a complex lens construction, and that also affects the zoom slow, so it's very slow. Talking through the frame, this has a full frame equivalent of 38 to 140 millimeters and a maximum aperture of 2.8 at the wide end and 4.7 at the telephoto end. Smallest aperture is f8 at both ends of the focal range. Apart from boot up and zoom, the camera is pretty snappy and reacts very fast to button press and entering settings. When you have a lot of options with this camera, that is a very important thing. And the time between shots is respectable, though maybe not the best in class of this kind of camera. Shutter time is between 4 seconds and 1/1000th of a second, though in manual mode you can use bulb up to 15 seconds. ISO can be set automatically, but it only chooses between ISO 100 and 200. But manually you can choose from 100 to 800. Unlike the Canon Powershot, this camera uses SD cards, which is much easier today as very few of us have some kind of interface for the old compact flash cards, unless of course you, like me, are into old cameras. It resembles the Powershots in that it also uses AA batteries. But you could also get a specific battery for this camera that fitted the same two slots that these go into. And should have a little bit more power than these two, but I haven't got hold of one. I'm happy that it uses AAs and even runs on rechargeable ones. Furthermore, you only need to power this camera with 2 batteries, making this package somewhat lighter. Talking of weight, this is a solid little thing with an aluminium body, and despite that it only weighs 241 grams. There is a small viewfinder that gives you an impression of what's in the view, but it only covers around 90% of the actual view. The small, but for that time normal 1.5 inch LCD with a resolution of only 123,000 pixels show the whole image. But it is hard to judge the quality of sharpness before you download the images to your computer. As I said, this camera has a lot of controls. With regard to shooting modes, you are blessed with the usual subject modes, and you can let the camera decide, or you can choose one yourself. There are portrait mode, sports mode, landscape, sunset, night portrait, and macro mode. And the macro mode lets you fill the frame with an object of around 4 centimeters in size. You also have a program mode that lets you change some settings, but if you want more control, you can choose either shutter priority, aperture priority, or even complete the manual mode. Image quality is good, as we shall see, and you can store images in JPEG or in TIFF modes, so somewhat more flexibility. But this is not on par with the real RAW mode. There's some guesswork as to what format you are actually saving your images in though. It's in the quality menu, and there is no mention of format, only fine with a JPEG and super fine, which then is TIFF. You will notice once you look at the top display, which by the way tells you a lot about the chosen settings. Choosing fine or TIFF, the number of images you can save to a card falls drastically. Now then, let's look at some more images from this camera. On the way out my door, I just shot photograph down my stairs, and this little plant, which is actually plastic, and I missed focus even though I was using macro mode, but here I used the macro mode, but there's some color going on here. I like these small dots, rain dots on my window, and you can even see a small image of the house on the other side of us, upside down inside the droplets. That's nice. Look at the background rendering here. It's very nice, soft and beautiful. But when you get outside and you have a little more light, the background is too sharp for my taste, and you have to move very close. But if you do that, now it's not that close, but you can see the background is disappearing. And look at this macro shot, very close and very sharp, and the background is just disappearing completely. Color rendering is very natural. I find these colors are just like they are on my house, so I find them to be quite natural. That's good. I also tried some moving objects here, a car passing by and panning with it. The bus on the other side is going the other direction. And now some very quiet, nice photos from a trip to a forest just north of Copenhagen. Also again, autumn colors here, looking pretty nice. The greens are beautiful. The sky is beautiful when it is not too bright, at least. And yeah, generally natural colors. This small, very old oak tree also. And the rendering is pretty good. Of course, the dynamic range is not that big. You see it here in the foreground. The grass is totally blocked out. But nice, most of it. So what did I like most about this camera? Well, I think the image quality is quite decent, and I like that it both has JPEG and TIFF, though I would like a real RAW mode, but yeah. A number of shooting modes, there's a lot to choose from, all the manual modes and then all the subject modes that the camera can choose, or you can choose them yourselves. And you have a lot of control over this camera by the user interface, which is quite reasonable. And I also like both the size and the weight of this camera. There's also a few things that I don't like. As I mentioned, I would like a real RAW mode, but TIFF is okay. The limits at the wide angle, 38mm, is not that good. I would like to have a more wide setting. And of course, as I mentioned, there's very slow startup and very slow zoom. That's the major downsides to this camera. And of course, if you wanted to shoot video with this camera, just forget it, because 320 by 240 and it's only at 15 frames per second. That's just totally unusable. I hope you like my review of this old point and shoot camera. A camera that looks a bit odd, but actually works pretty well, and that I have come to like very much. The form factor is somewhat strange, and handling is a bit on the quirky side. But you have a lot of control over this camera. It's maybe not the best for a beginner, as there are too many things that you can inadvertently change. But for me, this was a joy to use. That is, except the slow boot up and the slow zoom. If you like this kind of honest reviews, please subscribe to my channel, and if you already do, I thank you for that. Also give this video a like, as it helps others searching for this kind of information to find my channel. So thank you very much for this time, and bye for now.